tell you, I am dragging today. Just letting you know in advance, if I fall asleep in the middle of this broadcast, it's nothing personal. I'm just tired as all get out. Because, you know, it's just, that's the nature of this time of year for me. Christmas season, shopping season. So when you work for a company that does logistics and sends a lot of things, all these stores got to stock up, and a lot of people are sending stuff, and I work extra hours. Usually that particular part-time job, I'm usually there about 4 or 5 hours a day. But this time of year, just for about 6 weeks, I go in at 10 o'clock in the evening, and I get done at about 9 o'clock in the morning or 8:30 in the morning. I got whatever. And then, but then I still do all the other stuff I normally do during the day. This show, a little gig at over the lunch hour. Then I have my side hustles that I got. So holy shit, I'm tired, but I'm gonna trooper through it just like that movie about the starship thing, whatever. And but today we're gonna watch. Here's the thing though. Sometimes I spend a lot of time getting a lot of articles and all this stuff, and sometimes, like, remember when you were in school and your teacher kind of, the teacher, you could tell the teacher was just having one of those days where they didn't want to do a whole lot. So they kind of they brought in the TV, right? The TV and the screen, the VHS recorder, they pop a tape in and you'd watch a movie that day. Well, I think that's what we're going to do today. We're going to watch a movie in class today. But I just might talk over the movie a little bit, if that's okay with you, because let's put it this way. There's a whole lot of hot takes on this, the case of the kid in the Kenosha, right? And I watched the trial from start to finish with a bunch of lawyers. See, I watch it usually on Mercatus Stream, and so got legal analysis, learned a lot. Not all of them, and here's the thing: they didn't agree on everything. They talked a lot about the legal stuff about it, and so I watched the trial, and I watched every minute. I know what happened in the trial. I know the facts, the details, the witnesses. I know everything. I watched the entire trial. And so there's this, and the legal YouTubers, the law YouTubers, there's a lot of them on YouTube. But there's one in particular who is huge. I mean, he's one of the biggest law YouTubers. He's got 2.12 million subscribers. But you see, the thing is, I see his stuff every once in a while. He does a lot of those little 1-minute clips of the shorts and shit, and then he does other legal. But he has kind of a little political bend to him, and it's interesting. So I thought, it would be very interesting to go see, because a lot of the lawyers that I watch, they tend to be a little more conservative, but this guy's, I don't know if he's a lawyer for the DNC or what, but I thought, okay, I wanted to see how Legal Eagle, if you're familiar with him, I wanted to see how he would cover the trial. And so that's the movie we're going to watch today. And I might just say a few words while he's opining. And it's kind of a long video, so it might take up the whole class, but we're going to just, we're going to power through it. And if I have time to do other stuff on the bookends of it, we'll do that too. So I hope some of you, if I know Thanksgiving in the United States is tomorrow, so perhaps some of you have a shortened day today, or maybe you're not working at all today. Maybe you've got some travel plans or whatever. And if you're allowed to, I wouldn't grab some liquor, because we might need it for this show. But we're gonna see what Legal Eagle, he's a law YouTuber. We're gonna watch him today, but we'll do that after I play the intro. Johnny over there. Johnny, Would you play the intro, please? Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way, but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, PDawg Knight. Okay, stop the music. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as Dawg Knight on the internet. And welcome back to the Dawg Knight Channel. It is Wednesday, the 24th of November, 2021, the day before Thanksgiving, the day we give thanks. And you think, thankful for your loved ones and your friends and family and all that stuff, and the bounty with which you live with. And or even if even if you're struggling at times, you got to stop and go, There's some roses around here. Maybe I should stop and smell them. And so you got to stop and smell the roses. You got to count your every blessing every day. Yeah, you're going to find your way to heaven. It's a rough and rocky road. You better stop and smell the roses along the way. I wonder if we'll get a copyright strike for that, because that sounded almost just like Mac Davis. It is Mac Davis, right? I think so. Anyway, real quick, thank you, Chicago Mike, for being the first sponsor of the day. And not only the first sponsor of the day, but Chicago Mike, you are the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. Hey, Chicago Mike says, happy Thanksgiving, Marty, to you and your family at work and not able to watch now. Well, sir, I greatly appreciate that. That is very kind of you. And happy Thanksgiving to you. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you in the dog pound. So it smells like pumpkin spice. It's weird. I already told you, we're not doing that regular Thanksgiving dinner this year. Usually we do the big cooking thing, and we're going to brunch this year for Thanksgiving, just because everyone's schedules. My son-in-law, he's an RN, and he has to work that night, and my son's not going to be here, so we're going to spend it with my son-in-law's family, and we're up in St. Cloud, Minnesota, home of Ricada Law, by the way, and so we didn't, usually I cook 2 turkeys and all this food stuffing, potatoes, sweet potatoes, collard greens and corn casserole and but we're not having anyone over. Well, that sucks. But we cooked it anyway, because we're sending everybody home with leftovers. You get some leftovers, and you get some leftovers, and you get some leftovers. No, seriously, we cooked an entire Thanksgiving meal as though we were having people over anyway, and we've packaged up some packaged leftovers that we're going to be given to everyone that we hang out with tomorrow, and also the people who normally would be coming here for Thanksgiving. We got it ready. They all get leftovers. So, it's pretty cool. We're going to do that. So, all right. The talk of the town. There's a lot of other news I could be covering, but this Kyle Rittenhouse thing. Holy shit. Oh, by the way, we are kind of bracing for the Ahmaud Arbery, the trial of the McMichaels and what's the other guy's name? Brand, I think his last name is. That jury is still deliberating, and they hadn't come up with a verdict as of yesterday, but they only deliberated about a half a day. You know what? I have a feeling that we will get a verdict on that one today too. Why do I think that? Now, juries, first of all, I don't know that it's the hardest case. If I were on the jury, I know what I'd be pushing for. I think that the prosecution's proved its case, and nothing against, and I, regardless, anyone, a lot of people are like, oh, there's people out there saying, Arbery's a criminal, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. Not the thing in that case is the fact that the McMichaels had no business doing a citizen's arrest. They didn't witness a crime. And unfortunately, and no matter how honest they felt, honestly, they felt that they were doing the right thing. They didn't. It's from a legal standpoint, and there are consequences for that. You wonder if a jury will see that differently than I do, but I don't know. We'll see. But that's my prediction. The juries are weird. You never know what a jury's going to do. But the talk of the country and maybe other parts of the world is still the Rittenhouse case. Now, let me give you a little update, because let me show you. Media Research Center has a nice little what do you call it? A compilation of tweets. You know what tweets are, right? Or just reactions, not necessarily tweets, but reactions from various people on the other side of the political spectrum of their reaction to the Rittenhouse verdict, and it's not pretty. We'll show you a few of those, and then we're going to get into the meat of the show. So say they have this article called "Leftist Tears Marathon: Far Left Twitter Melts Down After Rittenhouse Not Guilty Verdict," and so they start just showing people. Here's Mayor Bill de Blasio. Anthony Huber and Joseph Rosenbaum are victims. They should be alive today. The only reason they're not is because a violent, dangerous man chose to take a gun across state lines and start shooting people. That would be factually deficient. Oh, but he continues in another tweet where he said, this verdict is disgusting. It sends a horrible message to this country. Where is the justice in this? We can't let this go. We need stronger laws to stop violent extremism from within our own nation. Dude, you didn't watch the trial, did you? He got all his information from I heard. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. What we are witnessing is a system functioning and designed and protecting those it was designed for. My heart still breaks for the communities and families whose grief now compounds, and the countless others who will be denied and deprived in similar scenes across this country. I have no idea what she just said there. Gavin Newsom, America today, you can break the law, carry around weapons built for a military, shoot and kill people and get away with it. That's the message we just sent to armed vigilantes across this nation. Wow. First of all, I'm pretty sure he didn't have a weapon built for the military. He didn't. Did anyone? What did he have a? No, he didn't. That's. Black Lives Matter, the organization, the grievance grifting organization, because of course Black Lives Matter, the movement itself. Yeah, I kind of get it. I maybe statistically overwrought on the police thing, whatever, but still, I understand the sentiment. But the grievance grifting organization known as Black Lives Matters that buys many homes for their leadership. Remember, the system is working exactly as it's meant to. The system was always meant to protect and uphold white supremacy. Oh, yeah. And then he also said Kyle Rittenhouse found not guilty on all counts. This is how the systems conspire to entrench white supremacy. Meathead, you know who Meathead is, right? Actor Rob Reiner, for those of you who may not know the term Meathead. That was his character. He retweeted this one. Fighting Rittenhouse not guilty sends an encouraging message to other white men.
You're fucking a white male!
With access to guns with the same ideology. America's white cloak is fitting perfectly. Oh, Romy. Oh, that's his son. Or Romy Reiner. That dude's related. Or is that his daughter? I can't really tell from that picture. Anyway, Corey Bush, the new squad member from St. Louis, said, the judge, the jury, the defendant. It's white supremacy in action. This system isn't built to hold white supremacists accountable. It's why black and brown folks are brutalized and put in cages while white supremacist murderers walk free. I'm hurt. I'm angry. I'm heartbroken. Bette Midler, rocket scientist and famous vaudeville-esque entertainer. Kyle Rittenhouse found not guilty, though we saw him kill two. I don't know why she yelled saw him. Yeah. Do you understand the concept of self-defense? Anyway, she continues, fundamentally stupid. I predict he will go on to a big career on Fox and in radical right-wing circles, which counts as a plus with them. A tragic day for decent, thinking, feeling, ethical people everywhere. Sorry if you're wearing headphones. Colin Kaepernick, yes, the legal expert, certainly one of the most brilliant legal minds in the United States of America today, Colin Kaepernick. What we just witnessed is a system built on white supremacy. Validate the terrorist acts of a white supremacist. This only further validates the need to abolish our current system. White supremacy cannot be reformed. I don't know. I don't even know what that means. What the hell is he talking about? I'll only do a couple more because there's this goes. You can read. I'll have this list. Look how I'm not even gonna read anymore. This is how long the list is, though. These people need to cope. Mehdi Hassan, he's a jackass. Anyway, but Malcolm Nance, the former CIA analyst or something. He has some bullshit title on MSNBC, pretending like he's important. Anyway, this is the last one down here. It's official. Open season on anyone who protests against armed white men. They have a license to kill liberals so long as they say it's self-defense. Hey, Malcolm. There's video evidence, you jackass. Anyway, the rest, you can read the rest. There's a whole bunch more, but I skipped a whole bunch because I have other stuff to do today. It'll be in the tab. The link thing that I do down below in the description, like I do every day, you know, all the articles and videos and whatever else I do. I'll put it in a single link in the description down below in the second paragraph. That's called a one-tab link, and it will be there finished sometime during the outro, and you can find it in the description down below. You'll find it on the Discord server, which Gunfox is so adeptly administering, and so you can find all that shit there. So anyway, and I do have one bit of Kyle Rittenhouse news that is going to make heads explode across America. I know this is going to ooh, that's interesting. This is going to get them all going. This is going to get them all going. Kyle Rittenhouse and his mother flew out to meet with President Trump at Mar-a-Lago. Oh God, you know what? I'm questioning. Look, I understand. This is, you know, that. The tour that he's doing right now, I don't like the fact that he did the interview on Tucker Carlson, which we might do that one tomorrow. I don't like that he's going to see President, even though I don't have a problem with President Trump. I wish President Trump was President Trump, the current, as opposed to Sundowner Joe. But I don't know if this is a good idea. this is just going to fire people up even more against him, and they won't even give him a chance to look. Anyway, he and his mom flew out to Mar-a-Lago to meet with President Trump. And President Trump joined Sean Hannity on Tuesday for an hour-long interview discussing everything from Joe Biden's shameful withdrawal from Afghanistan to the record inflation under current administration. Toward the end of the interview, President Trump told Sean that he met with Kyle Rittenhouse and his mother in Florida. Trump said Kyle flew out with his mother after the verdict and that Kyle is a good young man. Well, okay, good for him. He got to meet President Trump. But that's gonna have, everyone's gonna be like, oh, Trump. I'm Whoopi Goldberg. I want Whoopi Goldberg to see that picture. This picture right here. This is the picture Whoopi Goldberg needs to see. I'm sure that she will spontaneously combust, and boy, that shit's gonna be flying everywhere because there's a lot of Whoopi Goldberg these days. Anyway, all right, real quick, let's say good morning, everybody, and then we're going to get into the video because that's what we're here for today. Because it's the teacher today is going to be a little lazy, but then I don't know that I'll be able to keep my mouth shut during this video. But anyway, first in the chat today was Select a Boy. Yeah, boy. Thank you for being here. First for being Johnny on the spot. Also, good morning to Mike Savage Blarg. Also, hello to Tyler F. Cool Frogs in the house in the morning, on time and bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Also, good morning to Jada Clay. What's happening? He's talking about the terrorist act. Yeah, we'll talk about Waukesha on Friday because I'm still implementing the 5-day rule on that one. But there is a lot of interesting. Oh, it's getting more and more interesting. But I think some people are jumping the gun. I'm just saying. But good morning, so Jada Clay. Also, Shia Grass in the house. Hello, bigots. Richo, my friend from Down Under's here. Good morning. Also, good morning to Lord Stanhope and who else? Who else is here? Y'all had a nice little chat before we got started. Oh, Keisha's in the house. Nice to see you. Lord Stanhope. Trippy Liberty. What's happening? Happy early Thanksgiving to you too. Don't know if there's a show tomorrow. Well, there is a show tomorrow. I go pretty much 365, 24, whatever, not 24/7 because it's only an hour and a half show. I do go on holidays for the most part, unless I'm in a plane or traveling or something. The only time I don't do shows is when I'm traveling. And in fact, sometimes I even do shows when I'm traveling. I do distinctly remember a 6-hour stream from, where would he go? Me and Lady Boomer were driving to Omaha one time, and we did a stream the entire drive. So that was kind of fun. Anyway, thank you, Piccolo, who's in the house. Also one of our trucker friends who's with the Canadian thing there with the super chat. Was there a little, I missed the little, what kind of a thing did he put there? There's no message. Oh, we get a little yellow doggy. That kind of looks like Lucky, my dog. And that's the Lucky Dog Studio is named after Lucky, my dog. Anyway. All right. Who did I miss here? I was right. I was at Trippy. I saw Trippy there. I saw, let's see, there's K-Shaw. There's Trippy Liberty. Okay. Who else is here? Special K on Acid. Good morning. Also, DI Freighter Watcher. Good morning, everybody. I got a alert today, but wanted to ask you to check out PDawg's Discord. I linked a video about the dancing grannies. 5 minutes to pay. Respect is all I ask. Okay, we'll have to check that out. Definitely. I like the videos that show up in the Discord every once in a while. Also, good morning too. Who else is here? Ryan R. Nice to see you. I saw you there a little earlier. And T-Ball's in the house. And who else is here? Who am I missing? I mean, it's because there's like 20, 30 people in the room, but okay, everyone's down here. There's Brent Hayes, there's Anna Lynn. Hey, what's happening? You're back. Nice to see you. Pincados, Keenan's in the house, and that's about it. All right, so anyway. Oh, and Tessa Cunningham, what's happening? Yeah, and if you're lurking or you're working, driving, all that stuff, you don't have to put something in the chat if you're driving, especially because I need you to keep your eyes on the road. I know a lot of people are traveling today, or if you're, working or, running if you're running one of those big, metal presses, keep your hands on the handles and don't be trying to chat while you're doing that because you might lose a limb or something. That would not be that would be not a happy day for you or for me. I would be very upset if I was the cause of something like that. Anyway, I do have my cup of reparations. I got a video ready in the hopper, and that is this guy. If you're familiar with Legal Eagle. And the only reason I want to do this is one of the biggest law YouTubers. Now, like I said earlier, I watched the entire Rittenhouse trial, start to finish, the motions, everything. I mean, and in fact, and then I watched it with lawyers, because I watched it on Ricada's stream, Ricada, my fellow Minnesotan. And he had a whole bunch of lawyers popping in and out, all different kinds of legal analysis, explaining the different things that were happening. And so I felt like I got watching this trial with a bunch of lawyers, you get quite the education on how things work, what the legal aspects, the very nuanced details, what's happening in the courtroom and whatnot. But that guy right over there, him, that's legally. I think his name is it Damon Darren? I don't know what the hell his name is. It's Legal Eagle. He's one of the biggest law YouTubers. Totally. Over 2 million subscribers. His Rittenhouse, Brett Hayes. Now, come on. Brett Hayes says Legal Eagle has a bit of a left-leaning orientation. I'm surprised he doesn't have cauliflower ear in his left ear from it hitting the ground so much. Anyway, but I was curious. Hello, Zach to the future. How you doing? I was curious how he would describe the trial. And so he has a post-verdict video called Kyle Rittenhouse. What are those things? The 2 dots, not the semicolon, colon, Kyle Rittenhouse, colon, as opposed to, that colon, murder or self-defense. Devin, that's his name, Devin. Yeah, he's Devin. Never trust anyone. Do I know any Devins? I knew Devin. Anyway, Devin here has, he crossed over that line at the impeachment stuff. Yeah, he really did. If you ever saw any of his stuff about Trump, he doesn't. Let's just say he doesn't like President Trump. But okay, so we're gonna check this out. Legal Eagle, aka Devin, his analysis. Now, I'm sorry, I almost forgot. One of the reasons I'm doing this, and I've done it, I'm very curious how much of I heard is going on in this video, or did he actually watch the trial? And also because he has such a large following, I've been complaining about how the media has covered the trial, how they tend to highlight certain aspects based on their belief that Kyle Rittenhouse should be burning in hell right now. But I thought, well, Legal Eagle, he's a legal analyst, so he would try to give you every detail possible, right? And he would be very careful to get everything right, and so I'm gonna give him a chance on this. Now I sort of listened to this while I was at work, so I might have an idea where this is going, but I didn't listen closely. So now I'm going to watch with you, and we're going to see if we can catch things. And I'll try to do this before. This is a long video, so I'll have to try to do it before the end of the show. So I'm not going to stop it as much, or if I stop, I'm going to talk very quickly, as long as I don't fall asleep, because I told you I'm tired as all get out. I still have to do my normal daytime stuff too, but I'm very tired. That's why I had to go fill the coffee cup again before I started the show. And so let's just listen to Devin. Is that his name? Devin, aka Legal Eagle. So here we go.
After a 2-week trial, a Wisconsin jury acquitted Kyle Rittenhouse for shooting 3 people, killing 2 during a racial justice protest in
Hey, who is this? Welcome, Austin Sayan, first of all, and welcome back. Nice to see you again. But there's someone, Kyle Rittenhouse official? What's good in the hood, AR-15 gang? I'm starting self-defense classes online. Join up if y'all are interested. If I can defend myself, you can too. From yours truly, Kenosha's pride. Oh, dude, I am honored you're here, young man. Well, first of all, Kyle, Kyle Rittenhouse official. Well, okay, all right, let me just think about this. I don't know if I should. Okay, look, I'm glad you're here, and I hope you enjoy the show, and you're welcome to come back anytime. And I'm glad you got the verdict was not guilty, because you said that is safe. So he's talking about this racial justice protest in Kenosha. Why is he showing Jacob Blake, who's I don't know what the purpose of this is. Not the racial justice protest. And actually it was during the riot part, not the protest part. But anyway, I'm sorry. If I keep doing this, we'll never get through this video. So keep going.
In Kenosha. At the time, Rittenhouse was a 17-year-old from...
Oh, that's weird. No, this is not... I can guarantee you, this little snip right here, whoever edits for him...
During a racial justice protest in Kenosha.
Right
at the
here... I'm not convinced that's the Kenosha part. I'm not sure. There's too many black people in this picture. And, okay, never mind. I'm just being a smart ass.
Time, Rittenhouse was a 17-year-old from
Cleaning
Illinois
the
who
walls.
traveled to Kenosha after right-wing social media accounts called on people to protect the city.
Oh, you know what? Somebody said, hey, he didn't even have a medical kit. What the hell is this thing right there? That looks like his Pelican bag that he uses for medical kits. Anyway.
From riots.
I am an EMT.
Whoa. What?
Right-wing social media accounts called on people to protect the city from riots.
Hold on.
Rittenhouse for shooting 3 people, killing 2 during a racial justice protest in Kenosha. At the time, Rittenhouse was a 17-year-old from Illinois who traveled to Kenosha after right-wing social media accounts called on people to protect the city from riots.
What? Did Legal Eagle get that from the trial after right-wing social media sites called on people to protect the what? No. Well, let's see if he mentions Sam and Sal, the guys who actually asked people to protect their business. Good morning. Why are you so angry, by the way?
I am an EMT. If you are injured, come to me.
Rittenhouse acted in the midst of a chaotic protest where many people were legally carrying guns. Bystander videos show that the 3 men that Rittenhouse shot had been in confrontations with him.
No, they had not. No evidence from the trial said the 3 men had confrontations with him. The only person that he had, he didn't have interactions with anybody. But those guys, the one guy was yelling at the guys with the guns. That would be Joseph Rosenbaum, the multi-time convicted pedophile. From right from the start. Right from the start, I'm beginning to think that Legal Eagle here didn't watch the trial. He got reports of the trial, but didn't watch the trial himself. Because there's nothing in the trial that said that.
Rittenhouse has now been found not guilty on all 6 counts arising from his conduct that day.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Kyle H. Rittenhouse, not guilty.
So what happened at the Rittenhouse trial? Why did the jury conclude that he was not guilty? Is it a travesty of justice?
Because he's not guilty. It's fill out a lot of video evidence. But let's see what he answers. Oh, all right. By the way, Piccolo. I don't know if I said hi to you, but there you go. That's for you, my brother.
Or a defensible outcome.
Legal presents.
There's no
real
dispute
love.
that Rittenhouse killed 2 men and injured a 3rd, but as we talk about often on this channel, that's not the end of the analysis. And here it was only the beginning. Many people thought that when Kyle Rittenhouse admitted on the stand that he intentionally used deadly force on Rosenbaum and Huber, that was a huge tactical blunder. But
why? Was there any doubt that he used lethal force on those people. I mean, no one disputes that he killed them. Why that wasn't the tactical blunder. The tactical blunder, Legal Eagle, was having him testify in the first place, because the prosecution was able to get things out of him that they wanted to bring in new evidence that wasn't necessarily going to be, that no one testified to, right? About some fuzzy picture. And the only way they got it in was being able to cross Kyle Rittenhouse. They wouldn't have been able to get that evidence in had they not brought him to the stand, because no one else would have mentioned the evidence, because nobody testified to it. And I'm not a lawyer. But some people call me Lawyer Dog. That's my nickname on Lords of the Night. Although actually I'm Lord of Jurisprudence, but yeah, somehow I got the Lawyer Dog tag, even though I'm not. Though my nickname is Lawyer Dog, full disclosure, I am not a lawyer. I only play one on the internet. Shall we continue?
Intentional use of deadly force is exactly the thing that is privileged when you meet the requirements of self-defense.
Very good.
In this case, hinged on whether self-defense.
Oh, that's interesting. This is that picture they took of the guys. Now, for whatever, it's fast. This is Sam, I think. Sam's the guy who owns the car shop, who said that he didn't know those guys are there. He didn't know why they were there. He's not even sure how they got there and how they got upstairs and all that stuff. And he was right there in the picture and gave him the keys, but he didn't ask anyone to come protect his business. Yeah. Because I think he was worried about liability. But anyway, good morning, Check Your Logic. How you doing, my brother? All right.
Defense applied or not. And more so than most self-defense cases, this case turned on the nuances of both self-defense law and criminal procedure.
Sam, hey, Sam, it's Kyle. Do you need anyone to protect your business? Okay, whatever.
Not surprising to me that both sides got lots of stuff legally wrong. So let's talk.
Oh, did they? Both sides got a lot of things legally wrong. Okay, let's find out.
About the law of self-defense in Wisconsin, because every state has different self-defense laws. And in Wisconsin, self-defense, like many other states, is an affirmative defense. In other words, the defendant has the burden of producing some evidence. They must put forth some evidence from which a jury can find that self-defense applied. This is generally called the burden of production. But then, once the defense has made this relatively minimal burden, the burden of proof then returns to the prosecution, which must disprove self-defense beyond a reasonable doubt, which is the highest standard in all.
Look at that trigger discipline. It's shameful. This is a guy who knows nothing about weapons. Anyway.
All of law. Now, every state has self-defense law that basically says a person who is not the aggressor is justified in using deadly force against an adversary when he or she reasonably believes that they're in imminent danger of death or serious bodily injury. Now, jurors aren't lawyers, so juries receive jury instructions that include all the law that they will need to decide a case, hopefully written in plain English. The lawyers and the judge fight over the jury instructions, which will be the only law that the jurors receive in that particular case. Now, it is supposed to accurately summarize the law that the jurors are applying. And as you can imagine, the language of the jury instructions is extremely important. The Rittenhouse jury instructions summarize the requirements for self-defense in Wisconsin as the defendant believed that there was an actual or imminent unloofful interference with the defendant's person, and the defendant believed that the amount of force...
He's not doing terrible so far, but some of just... You're going to catch his slant in several ways here that you'll see.
The defendant used or threatened to use was necessary to prevent or terminate the interference, and the defendant's beliefs were reasonable. The defendant may intentionally use force which is intended or likely to cause death or great bodily harm only if the defendant reasonably believed that the force used was necessary to prevent death or great bodily harm to himself.
Oh, you mean when you have a deranged manlet with a Napoleon complex chasing down the street while you're holding an AR-15, and he's already had his way with some young boys forcefully and gone to jail for that, but he just left a mental hospital and okay, never mind.
Now, in a situation like...
By the way, that wasn't part of the trial either.
This, a reasonable belief doesn't mean true. One can have a reasonable belief but still be mistaken. Reasonableness is determined from the standpoint of the defendant in the situation at issue, not after the fact. And as an aside, the law of self-defense gets slightly more complicated when you're applying it to different varieties of homicide and manslaughter because the mental state required is different for each of those offenses. But you can read the jury instructions themselves and see how the court modified the general rules that apply to self-defense.
Do you see what he did there? Did you hear what he did there? The court slightly modified the rules. What does that tell his 2.12 million subscribers? The court cheated from Kyle Rittenhouse. I mean, it's a subtle little thing he does, and it just drives me insane. He does it all throughout this video.
To apply to each of the different charges in this case. It's all written down in relatively plain English.
Now, the part of the modification too, I wouldn't say modification. He just explained, because once they got that little shady, blurry video allowed, because the prosecution's changed to a provocation argument from their beginning argument, because their beginning argument got blown out of the water by their own witnesses, and then they switched over to the provocation. Well, when there's provocation, there's a little more different burdens of self-defense. If they can prove Kyle provoked the attack, then he has to take more steps than in a normal self-defense case. And all of the original charges, the jury can consider lesser charges depending on how well he did on as far as those lesser charges. So there's a whole bunch. There's more burdens of proof, or more burden to mitigate the threat if you provoked part of it. I hope I made sense, but anyway.
And it's worthwhile. You might be on a jury someday, and you might be faced with similar jury instructions. Now, Wisconsin...
Really? I know what he meant, but I'm thinking, no, I'm not going to be on a jury like that, because that's a pretty rare case. Anyway.
Doesn't have what's called a duty to retreat. In other words, Wisconsin law doesn't require someone whose life is in danger to exercise all opportunities to flee before resorting to deadly force. But jurors can consider whether someone tried to move away from danger as they assess the reasonableness of a self-defense claim. Juries are still allowed to consider whether the defendant had an opportunity to retreat to determine whether or not it was necessary to use deadly force in self-defense. And Wisconsin law doesn't quite go as far as stand your ground states, which remove any consideration of de-escalating or fleeing before resorting to deadly force. However, as we'll talk about later, Wisconsin does have a duty to retreat where the person provokes the attack against them. Now, at common law, a majority of jurisdictions required a duty to retreat before being allowed to engage in deadly force in self-defense. But today, a duty to retreat is required in only a minority of U.S. states. Here is a duty to retreat instruction from Massachusetts. Quote, a person cannot lawfully act in self-defense unless he or she has a...
Okay, this is fascinating too, okay? Massachusetts, he uses the example of Massachusetts. Why? Why would you use it, why would you even show an example from Massachusetts instead of just saying, you know what, here's what the Wisconsin law is? Because again, this muddies the water by taking the state with one of the least pliable self-defense laws, the least generous, I guess generous would be the word, but they're the most restrictive on self-defense claims. So he's taking Massachusetts versus another state that has similar law to Wisconsin. In Massachusetts, a person cannot lawfully act in self-defense unless he or she is exhausted
all other reasonable alternatives before resorting to force. A person may use physical force in self-defense only if he or she could not get out of the situation in some other way that was available and reasonable at the time. The Commonwealth, that is the state of Massachusetts, may prove the defendant did not act in self-defense by proving beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant resorted to force without using avenues of escape that were reasonably available and which could not have exposed the defendant to further danger.
That would be fantastic if we were in fucking Massachusetts. That was very good timing, Piccolo. Thank you, Piccolo, the driving ape man.
You are the new stream.
Whoops. Who says, I want to see someone de-escalate that in 7 seconds. Yeah, how do you de-escalate that anyway?
Again, that's the law of Massachusetts, and it's not
Why
the law
bring
of
it up? Why bring it up? Use one that's from a similar state, not the most restrictive self-defense laws in the country, but serves the purpose for his audience.
Wisconsin. And it should go without saying that the Kenosha jury was applying the law of Wisconsin at the time.
Thank
we'll
you.
talk
Oh,
about the
good.
implications of this particular
And so why'd you show the fucking Massachusetts law?
aspect of Wisconsin law in a second. But the final nuance of self-defense at issue is that of provocation. A person...
You know what I just noticed? He kind of dresses like Binger. Just saying.
Person who provokes an attack cannot claim legal self-defense, but it's more complicated than just that.
Yes.
The Wisconsin law on provocation states, a person who engages in unlawful conduct of a type likely to provoke others to attack him or her, and thereby does provoke an attack, is not entitled to claim the privilege of self-defense against such attack, except when the attack...
You know what's interesting about this law? Listen to this language. A person who engages in unlawful conduct of a type likely to provoke others to attack him. And what they said is that this blurry picture showed that he pointed his weapon at somebody, but he didn't point it at they say he didn't point it at Rosenbaum. They say he pointed it at the Zeminskis, but I don't get how that provokes Rosenbaum unless they're trying to make Rosenbaum be, I need a hero.
Attack which ensues is of a type causing the person engaging in the unlawful conduct to reasonably believe that he or she is in imminent danger of death or great bodily harm. Okay, so let's...
Whoa, that's interesting. So if it's not pointed at Rosenbaum, he can't think that he's immediate death or cause himself immediate death or bodily harm.
Let's break down this law on provocation, which is an exception to the exception of self-defense, which is an exception to the ability to use deadly force against someone. So let's say you engage in unlawful conduct likely to provoke others. Well, then you can't claim self-defense, except that you can if your provocation causes others to use effectively deadly force against you. Now, we'll get back to this in a second, but the law continues. In such a case where the provoked attacker uses deadly force against the provoker, the person engaging in the unlawful conduct is privileged to act in self-defense, but the person is not privileged to resort to the use of force intended or likely to cause death to the person's assailant unless the person reasonably believes that he or she has exhausted every other reasonable means to escape from or otherwise avoid death or great bodily harm at the hands of his or her assailant.
Oh, so if you actually kind of sort of pointed your gun at someone and that provoked them, if you run and they chase you and then you turn around and they're still chasing you, keep running and they chase you, is that the, what's that called? Exhausted every reasonable means of escape from or otherwise avoid death or great bodily harm at the hands of his or her assailant, but the assailant caught up with you the second time you ran, the time you ran the second time? Huh? I don't think they would have got him on this if he had pointed the gun at somebody. He ran twice and was trying to get away from the pedophile.
So here, you only get to use deadly force to resist the deadly force that you provoked if you exercise a duty to retreat.
Oh, and what did Kyle Rittenhouse do? I'm pretty sure he retreated, but let's see what legal says.
Wisconsin law stipulates that the provocateur must attempt every other reasonable option to escape, avoid, or prevent the attack before resorting to deadly force.
I think running away tries
that provoked the
suffice,
secondary attack. Now, we'll talk about the general law of self-defense and whether it applies under the factual circumstances as we know them in a second. But first, I want to talk about the exception of provocation, because a number of people believe that Kyle Rittenhouse provoked the attacks themselves and therefore...
Who exactly are a number of people? Oh, I'm sorry. The prosecution team, when they were kind of making that up,
couldn't use the privilege of self-defense.
Actually, oh wait. Now, if I remember this video, he actually does explain this pretty well, at least as far as as a layman, fake lawyer on the internet does. By the way, I don't attempt to practice law, and I don't give legal advice, even though my nickname's Lawyer Dog.
Brandishing a firearm or placing himself in the situation, he provoked the attack. Now, there's 3 issues here. First, is there unlawful conduct? Did Kyle Rittenhouse engage in unlawful conduct that could constitute provocation and therefore prevent the defense of self-defense? Well, Judge Schroeder granted defense motions to dismiss the 2 misdemeanor charges against Rittenhouse. I think a lot of people put too much emphasis on those lesser included offenses. The charges were for
interesting. Let's see if he explains why he dropped those 2 lesser offense charges.
For possessing a dangerous weapon as a minor and a misdemeanor charge for breaking curfew. And arguably, Wisconsin law has an exception that allows minors to possess shotguns and rifles as long as they're not short-barreled. But more importantly, provocation requires unlawful conduct of a type
I wonder if his audience will realize that it was dropped because he was legally carrying the gun. I think people are starting to get that, but not really.
To provoke others. Now, even if those 2 lesser included charges had stuck, they might not have been sufficient to rise to the level of provocation.
Very good.
Mainly because Wisconsin is an open carry state. Mere open carry of a firearm is A, not unlawful, and B, possibly not the type likely to lead to provoking others.
Good, because those black folks that were protecting the restaurant and parking lot, they might have been in trouble too if that was enough to provoke anything, but they didn't, because they didn't provoke anyway.
Now, I'm oversimplifying here. This is a highly fact-specific analysis, but it's not unreasonable that someone might not.
Whoa! Your analysis highly fact-specific. Oh no, I see. To the case, it has some details that whether or not, anyway.
Find that the gun possession didn't lead to provocation. Think about it. Is it the possession of the gun that provokes the attack, or is it the possession of a gun by a minor, or possession of a gun that crossed state lines that leads to someone provoking an attack? If you think it's the former, well, that's not illegal, and the latter probably doesn't provoke an attack. No one says, oh, the reason I'm attacking you is that you're a minor with a firearm, not that you're carrying a firearm in the first place. And additionally, breaking curfew probably couldn't be the requisite predicate because lots of people were breaking curfew and it wasn't leading to mass provocation. Now, it's a closer call when you consider Rittenhouse admitted that he pointed his gun at the victims and claimed that when he was pointing his gun...
What the fuck did he just say? He admitted he pointed the guns at the victims. Well, first of all, the one that the so-called pointing at the victims that they wanted to bring in as provocation, no, he didn't ever testify to that. Now, there was a point though when Binger, the prosecutor, while he was on the stand, got Kyle to say that he might have pointed his gun at the feet of Gage Grosscrotch. But there's plenty of camera angles showing that he wasn't pointing the gun at Gabe Grosscrotch, but he badgered him for quite a while on this point until Kyle said, well, yeah, maybe the gun was pointed at his feet, but they aren't pointed at him. Oh, that's where he admitted he pointed his gun at the victims. That was later on. Because remember, according to the prosecution, there are five potential. Because there's 5 counts for each of the 5. Not victims, whatever, because the one's no victims anyway. Makita Programmer, how you doing? Black Hebrew Israelite, good morning.
That's right.
So anyway, yeah, no. Oh, and Avocado Stiali, Devil's Advocate. Good morning.
It wasn't a dangerous provocation. Now, you could argue that pointing your gun at someone is assault or misuse of a firearm, but that probably doesn't work if the reason that you're pointing the gun at someone in the first place is for the purposes of self-defense. And in fact,
and the way Binger was doing it, he's trying to say that he did it before people acted, and I don't think so.
There are Wisconsin cases to this effect. Though on the other hand, Wisconsin courts have an interesting history in analyzing the provocation exception. For example, in a 1975 Wisconsin Supreme Court case, the court held that a defendant was a provocateur by virtue of openly bringing a gun into a tavern. The Wisconsin Supreme Court held, quote, the defendant himself testified that after being slapped, he went out to his car, got his shotgun, loaded it, and returned to the tavern. As he was entering the tavern, he was grabbed from the side by someone and he pushed that person away. He saw Freddie Jones start toward him and he started shooting. He stopped.
Okay, does this resemble anything to the Rittenhouse case whatsoever? Oh, after he was slapped in a bar, he went out in his car and brought a shotgun back into the bar? I don't know if that's the same thing. Why is he using this? Well, he's using an example of provocation, but this ain't it.
After 4 shots.
This is nothing like what we're talking about.
And after Jones was out of sight. The defendant requests that the court grant him a new trial in the interest of justice. We find no merit to this contention. When the defendant left the tavern, got his shotgun out of the trunk, loaded it, and returned to the tavern, he became the provoker. Additionally, there's an 1883 Wisconsin Supreme Court case that says, quote, if one points a loaded gun at another and the other grapples with him to prevent the shooting and is shot, it is murder. And this is especially important in the context of the Rittenhouse
Rose,
shooting. Even Rittenhouse's testimony seems to indicate that Rosenbaum didn't lunge at Rittenhouse until he raised his gun at Rosenbaum, and that the reason...
Whoa, what did he just say? What did he just say?
Additionally, there's an 1883 Wisconsin Supreme Court case that says, quote, if one points a loaded gun at another and the other grapples with him to prevent the shooting and is shot, it is murder. And this is especially important in the context of the Rittenhouse shooting. Even Rittenhouse's testimony seems to indicate that Rosenbaum didn't lunge at Rittenhouse until he raised his gun at Rosenbaum.
What? What testimony did you listen to that said that? What? He didn't. His testimony said what? No, it did not. And either way, did we forget that there was a chase before that he was being chased across the parking lot? It's not like Rosenbaum didn't lunge at the gun until Rittenhouse pointed the gun at him. There was a chase immediately going before that. He's running at him. Rosenbaum's running at him at full speed. What about this? What do they call it? Strafing or strifing or whatever? The fact that he shot through his hand that was grabbing the muzzle, that was within inches of the muzzle or touching the muzzle, according to the medical examiner. What are you talking about?
Rosenbaum, and that the reason, or at least one of the reasons that Colin Rittenhouse shot Rosenbaum is that he feared that Rosenbaum would take his gun away and use it against him.
Because his hand was on the gun when it was shot.
And we'll talk about that in a second. And obviously, you'd have to run a provocation analysis in every instance where Colin Rittenhouse used deadly force. It's not a one-size-fits-all. You have to look at every...
No, because if you're watching the trial, you realize in every case of deadly force that he used, it was after an assault, not before an assault. There was no... In fact, the other people chased him down too. So how could there have been provocation in any of those? They chased him down, assaulted him, and he reacted to the assault. Kick to the face, skateboard to the head, gun pointed at you. There was no provocation of those. And with Rosenbaum, he had been chasing him across the parking lot in that short little amount of time and caught up with him. But you see, which side, just like when the jury was having trouble with their deliberations and they asked for specific things from the court. And one of those specific things was the video from when Rittenhouse set down the fire extinguisher and raised his rifle. That's the language of the prosecution. So you know that probably the person who wrote it that way was probably one of the holdouts on the guilty verdict or on the not guilty verdict. And that person happened to be the jury foreman or forewoman, because they used the language of the prosecution and not of the defense. What is Legal Eagle here doing? He keeps using the language of the prosecution, doesn't use the language of the defense. He might lay out the defense's positions, but he's using the language of the prosecution. So we know where he stands on this, regardless of the jury verdict.
Instance individually. And if the jury had found that there was nothing unlawful that led to provocation, or if there were illegal things going on, those weren't the ones that were leading to the provocation, their analysis to this exception probably would have ended there, and they would have found that provocation didn't apply. It's only where there is provocation do we get to the next questions. But assuming that that first hurdle had been met, you get to the next one, imminent danger. Even when someone provokes an attack, they can regain the right to use deadly force where that person reasonably believes that he is in imminent danger of death or great bodily harm, and he may lawfully act in self-defense.
Okay.
Since this is essentially the same standard as self-defense in the first instance, given that the
with the additional requirements of basically retreating, de-escalating, whatever, showing that you're if you provoke it, you must show signs of the de-escalation or retreat before you can use self-defense again. You can't, and it can't be a retreat where you purposely, like, so let's say you provoke. So let's say the guy with the shotgun in the bar, that one where he went back out to the bar, out to his car, came back with a shotgun, provoked the guy. The guy is like, fuck you, and wants to chase him. And so he shows the shotgun, runs out the bar, and then turns around and waits for the guy to come out of the bar and shoots him. That would be illegal. That would be murder. That would be not only a provocation, but you're setting up kind of an ambush through your provocation and not a genuine retreat. Whereas in this case, I don't even know how you can doubt it was a real retreat. You couldn't. I don't know how you can doubt it. There are people out there who doubt it. They're saying, oh yeah, he shot as soon as he could. Well, when you retreat twice, I'm not sure that is the case. And you know, no one's testimony said that. Anyway, let's go.
The jury must have thought Kyle Rittenhouse acted in self-defense. They probably would have found that this exception to the exception applied, even if they got to this question. And so if they got over those two first hurdles, which they then would have had to get over the third hurdle, which is the duty to retreat.
Okay, that's where
that's the final issue in terms of whether provocation can apply, and assuming the first two hurdles are met. The third clause says that the person who provokes the attack cannot use or threaten force unless he believes that he has exhausted all other opportunities to escape. If the jury got to this question, they could have felt that he had no choice under the circumstances. We don't know, and one of the prior issues might have precluded even getting to this question. But if the jury did reach this question, then they felt that Kyle Rittenhouse either had no opportunity to escape or had exhausted all of those opportunities. If that's the case, whether Wisconsin had a general duty to retreat might not have changed the overall outcome here anyway.
But what would the state have to have done to get to this point and issue in a trial? They would have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Kyle Rittenhouse provoked the attack on him by Joseph Rosenbaum. And they had no testimony to that, and they had no witnesses to that. They only had that pixelated picture that they supposedly got from a drone that really didn't show you anything, but they insisted that it showed Kyle Rittenhouse pointing his rifle at the Zeminskis. But the other part of that problem in that picture that they showed in court, as if you looked at it, that they're claiming that he's holding the rifle left-handed. And I won't even get in the left-handed, right-handed thing. You know what the problem with that picture was? The Zeminskis weren't in the picture, nor was Rosenbaum. They were edited out of the picture. So even if he were pointing the gun in that direction, who well, who was he pointing it at? There's no one in the picture. Oh, they said, well, another picture shows that they were there at that same time. Really? Okay, you don't have a case. You're just flailing and talking out of your 5-star.
Anyone who says that this is a simple case of self-defense or that it's cut and dry is definitely wrong. But so far we've talked
why? There's video evidence
about the exception to the exception, that is provocation. Let's now talk about whether the original exception, self-defense, applied or could reasonably have applied in this particular case.
Well, it must have.
Let's talk about the facts as we know them from the trial. Now, warning, these videos are graphic, but let's
now, here we go into the facts. Listen how he frames it.
talk about what the relatively uncontested testimony and...
Yeah, he does know it's caught on video. I'm convinced he's gotten the trial news from somewhere other than watching the trial, just listening to him. And, he's a lawyer. He knows the legal analysis. He just keeps having things that are that seem to be not as relevant as again, I'm not a lawyer. I got to see if any of the other lawyers critique this. We'll see.
And these videos shows. Rittenhouse and his friend Dominic Black testified that they went to Kenosha to protect a car dealership called CarSource. The two owners of the dealership told jurors that they never asked anyone to protect CarSource. During the protest...
Wait, whoa! Well, yeah, they testified to that. And in cross-examination and in examination of other witnesses' testimony, multiple witnesses said they did. And not only did they got a ride to the CarSource from them, and they got the keys to the CarSource from them. Did he? Holy shit! Are you gonna mention? Is he gonna mention that? They said they didn't ask them to be there. Well, how about the rest of the testimony? Holy shit! Hi, random American. How you doing? And Maniac Man and Fight For Our Rights. And oh my God.
Small group of 8 to 9 people.
Right? How did they get on the roof? Did they have keys? Where'd they get did they bring their own ladder? Did they get their own keys to get in the building? He's leaving shit out.
Were gathered at the dealership.
So now, see, his people who watch his video, think that they were just there on their own. No one asked them to be there. They shouldn't have been there. Nobody asked them to be there. Oh, and by the way, it's funny about this case, and until I read that article about that father and daughter that were protecting the protest post-trial, the post-anti-Rittenhouse protest, were also in Kenosha protecting another business that wasn't CarSource with the AR-15s. Now I want to find more people who were protecting businesses there. I'm curious. Prozac Dreams too. Nice to meet you. Welcome to the show. I want to see. In fact, I'm going to see if I can get an interview with that dad, and maybe the daughter. But the dad, I don't know if I want to interview the daughter, but I do want to interview the dad because I want to talk. Because this is not the only business that was being protected by people with rifles. Apparently, there were multiple businesses being protected by people with rifles. This is the high-profile one because of what happened. But they weren't the only. I'm not the only one. That's not how the Tigger song goes. But anyway, they weren't the only ones. But his audience is going to think these people just came out on their own. They were vigilantes. They weren't. No one asked them to be there. Why were they there? They shouldn't have been there. He shouldn't have been there with an AR-15. Good Lord. That's, well, again, omitting important details.
Rittenhouse that night was separated from the rest of his group and jogged towards one of the CarSource parking lots. Kyle Rittenhouse...
Why? And he jogged. He is out for a jog. There was no reason. It wasn't that anyone said that there was a fire over there, that he was running over there with a fire extinguisher to put it out.
apparently sees Joshua Zeminski is nearby, armed with a pistol. Rittenhouse continues to run towards car source. Rosenbaum chases Kyle Rittenhouse. Rosenbaum throws a plastic bag behind Kyle Rittenhouse, which lands on the ground. A shot is fired from someone else about 100 feet away. Kyle Rittenhouse turns around and stops as he gets to some parked cars. And
okay, he's got a little of the sequence wrong. He's close. Rittenhouse came there. Rosenbaum begins to chase him. The shot was fired at the same time he threw the bag. That wasn't. He got it backwards. He's saying Rosenbaum just threw a bag at him. Threw a plastic bag. That's all it was. He just threw a plastic bag and then later shot. It's not. That's the wrong sequence. The shot, bag. Kyle looks back, sees Rosenbaum throwing something at him, keeps running. Yada yada yada.
Shoots the unarmed Rosenbaum 4 times in quick succession, once in the back.
Ah! See what he did there? See what he did there? He's using the language of the prosecution. Now, when you say so, he shot him 4 times in quick succession, once in the back. What is the imagery that comes into your mind? And his viewers are going to hear the prosecution's thing that he shot him 4 times, once in the back, and they did the stop frame, so it made it look like they were one shot at a time. At least he said quick succession, but what does quick succession mean? And if you don't know the time frame, if you think within 5 seconds is quick succession. I'm sorry, I'm saying the word wrong because I might got tongue tied. You would think, well, if it's 5 seconds, pop, 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 shot in the back, pop, or pop, 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 once in the back. When someone says once in the back, you immediately get the image of someone who's either fleeing or has their back turned to you. Not what actually happened in this case, where 4 shots in 0.7 seconds as he's lunging at him and becomes horizontal. The 4th shot that's in the back, no, that's where the bullet is found, in his back. It actually was down through him as though he was like diving at him. So as he's diving at him, pop, 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 the 4th shot went into his upper shoulder, down through, and hit him in the spine. That's the shot that killed him, according to the medical examiner. It's not a straight-on shot in the back. But when you use that language, anytime you say someone was shot in the back, well, that's just a coward who shot you in the back. What a jackass. We're not going to get through this whole video.
Kyle Rittenhouse then runs away from the scene. A loose crowd starts to follow Kyle Rittenhouse.
A loose crowd?
Rittenhouse trips, falls to the ground, sits upright, and points his gun at one person, who backs away.
And did he shoot him? That's interesting. That's interesting. Go back a little bit. Look at this. Did he shoot that person that he pointed his gun at?
Rittenhouse trips, falls to the ground, sits upright, and points his gun at one person, who...
He didn't shoot him. Oh my God. I thought this was an active shooter, but he didn't shoot the guy who backs away.
Backs away. He shoots at a man who does sort of a half jump kick, but backs away after...
Who does a half jump kick, but backs away? Let's run that back, Johnny. Does a half jump kick, but backs away? Watch the guy who does the jump kick. Does he back away? Or does he hit him squarely in the face with his boot?
One person, who backs away. He shoots at a man who does sort of a half jump kick, but backs away.
Backs away? What? No, he fell to the ground after Kyle fired 2 shots. And look at, like, immediately after he gets kicked in the face, he gets hit by the skateboard. Like, this is really quick. Because this only goes back 5 seconds. This takes 5 seconds between the first guy who backs away and Kyle doesn't shoot him to the jump kick and the skateboard to the side of his neck. Watch.
One person, who backs away.
He
shoots at a man.
And this is in slow motion, by the way. This is in slow motion. That's how fast this goes. Backs away, doesn't shoot him. Junk pick man,
who
2
does
shots
sort of a
right there.
half
And
jump
then
kick, but backs away
skateboard
after
immediately.
the shot.
And
At roughly the same time, Anthony Huber hits Kyle Rittenhouse with a skateboard. Rittenhouse fires a shot. Huber picks up his skateboard and runs away.
wait, whoa. Okay, he's got this mixed up. Picks up his skateboard and runs away. That was earlier. He hit him already. This is where he tries to get his gun and he gets shot. This guy's got this out of. He doesn't even know. Where did he get this from? He's not watching the trial. He didn't watch the trial. He doesn't know the succession. He's got this wrong.
Skateboard. Rittenhouse fires a shot. Huber picks up his skateboard and runs away. Another shot is fired in either the direction of Huber or Gage Grosskreutz. Huber drops to the ground. Grosskreutz then puts his hands up while armed with a pistol.
And doesn't get shot. Look at that. And Kyle's not even pointing at that. He's not even pointing the same direction as Grosskreutz. But look, hands up, didn't shoot.
As he's making a move.
And notice they're not running the video in this part.
Or to the side of Rittenhouse. Rittenhouse then fires at Grosskreutz.
Look at this again.
As he's making a move toward or to the side of Rittenhouse. Rittenhouse then fires at Grosskreutz, hitting him once in the bicep.
Whoa. Did you hear that? What does he leave out of this part? Listen to his description of Grosskreutz. We're going to go back 10 seconds again. Listen to a description when he gets to Grosskreutz.
Grosskreutz then puts his hands up while armed with a pistol. As he's
But he did say with a pistol, but listen, what does he leave out here? He puts his hands up, with his arms up, with a pistol.
Making a move toward or to the side of Rittenhouse. Rittenhouse then fires at Grosskreutz.
Now, making a move toward or to the side of Rittenhouse. What kind of a move? What kind of a move towards or to the side of Rittenhouse? What do you mean toward or to the side of Rittenhouse? And what kind of a move with what? The pistol toward Rittenhouse. Now, you could say that's just an interpretation of the video. There's one problem. Grosskreutz testified that he was pointing his gun at Rittenhouse. He didn't shoot you until you pointed your pistol toward him. That is correct, was his answer. This description is malpractice. Leaving out the fact that he lowered his weapon at Rittenhouse.
Grosskreutz hitting him once in the bicep. Now, this is, of course, a hopefully neutral oversimplification. There are a lot of...
Neutral how? There was testimony about this. There was video about this. How is it neutral, leaving out something so key as the fact that the pistol was coming down and ended up in pointing at Kyle Rittenhouse when Grosscrotch's bicep was vaporized into a unicep? That's a detail that the prosecution witness who it happened to testified to. Why would you leave that out in this analysis? I don't understand that. I don't understand that. I'm a lawyer.
Of other facts. But at base, this is a confusing and charged situation, even with video footage, and it's not an easy case in either direction. So, was this self-defense? You can look at those facts and see a murder. You can look at those facts and...
How can you look at those facts and see a murder? Well, the way you presented it, maybe. Like, you didn't mention that Anthony Huber was pulling the weapon away from him when it was fired. You just said hit him with a skateboard and he tried to run away and... Have a great day, Tessa. Holy shit, this guy.
Find self-defense. Two diametrically opposed beliefs can both be reasonable at the same time.
Yeah, except The complaining witness gave testimony. Did you not watch the testimony? I know you did. Why would you leave something so key out? I don't get it.
A ton of open questions here. Was the use of force proportionate in every encounter?
Proportionate? This isn't fucking physics. What do you mean proportionate? There's no equal and opposite reaction in self-defense. If someone has a knife and they're coming at you and you have a bazooka, are you going to wait till they stab you or are you going to shoot the bazooka? That's a little bit of an extreme example, but you know what I mean? This isn't physics. There's no equal and opposite reaction. Sorry.
The use of force reasonable in every encounter?
Reasonable, that's
Did
part of it.
Rittenhouse provoke any of those reactions? But the
Provocation
videos and
is
testimony
important.
show a chaotic situation and people acting quickly. Now, no blanket assertions can be made. You have to run the self-defense
making
analysis
some.
for each incident individually,
Well, maybe you're
including
not.
the shots fired at the people that weren't Rosenbaum, Huber, or Grosskreutz. With the provocation.
What? What? What?
Individually, including the shots fired at the people that weren't Rosenbaum, Huber, or Grosskreutz. With
The people? The people? That the people that were shot at the people that weren't Rosenbaum, Huber, or Grosskreutz. How many people? Legal. It was in the trial. Very specifically in the trial. And there was video evidence and everything. Everyone testified that to this. And you see, this is why, like Joe Scarborough, the test is how many shots were shot. Now, if you only heard Legal Eagle and Joe Scarborough on that one day, imagine you're watching MSNBC and that day that Morning Joe and Joe Scarborough said that he shot 60 rounds into the crowd, which obviously didn't happen. And then you listen to this and he said, yeah, the shots shot at people that weren't Rosenbaum, Huber, and Grosskreutz. Oh, he shot at other people too? One person. Jump kick man. That's it. Oh my God. Logan, thank you so much for the super chat. I don't see it here in the pictures. It didn't show up somewhere, but I appreciate you. Thank you for sponsoring the show. You're fantastic and a great American. Oh, because it wasn't a super chat. Oh, this was just Streamlabs. Hey, by the way, Logan. Oh no, Chicago Mike's still a Streamlabs Superstar. Anyway, thank you, Logan. I appreciate that. Very kind of you, and welcome to the show. Also, good morning, baby Vazo. Nice to see you. And James Colley, and Lonesome One, and Irish Rose, and holy shit, there's a whole lot of people in here. There was a name I saw that I didn't see here before. Was it Lonesome One? Oh, it was Lonesome One. Love to see this guy present Enriqueta's coverage of the trial, but he'd never go. Nah, he'd never go there. He would never would. Okay, yeah, there was one other person that was shot at, and that's the other, what do they call him? Not complaining witness, but whatever they call that. I said it just a minute ago, and now I'm blanking. But I mean, listen to that again. I mean, here we go. Here, listen to this again. What the
incident individually, including the shots fired at the people that weren't Rosenbaum, Huber, or Grosskreutz. So
if you're watching Legal Eagle, you're thinking he shot at a bunch of other people too. What a pile of shite. Any Germans out there? Hello, Jethro Hetero. Nice to see you. He did a shot that he shot at other people. Oh, Logan. There you go. Oh, these are super chats. I'm not paying attention. Thank you, Logan, for another 5 spot with the dancing. What is that? The dancing green pear? That's all I can think it looks like. But anyway, thank you very much. I appreciate you very much. Thank you for sponsoring the show. Yeah, you mean the one other person that kicked him in the face that he fired 2 shots at but missed? Jump Kick Man? I mean, they had a pretty colorful name. Jump Kick Man. douchebag.
The provocation argument aside, one might look at these incidents.
Why aside? If they're listen, the provocation argument. If they didn't try to make let's say their provocation argument stuck, and they would have had to. There was more burden on Kyle, which there was, technically, if you are watching the trial, right? That's very important. But you can't if the provocation argument is no longer, you put it aside. The prosecution lost the case before the defense ever came up to bring up witnesses. Their case was toast. Oh Lord, this is amazing. Now, see, this is interesting because sometimes I listen to this guy and I'm like, okay, I'm listening to his legal analysis and it sounds pretty good, but this is one that I know about, and I've heard all the legalese and crap that goes along with it. I know the details of the case. I know every minute of the trial. And I cannot believe what I'm hearing from this guy. He didn't watch the trial. And he's using prosecution language. He's using the language of the prosecution of the case. So he's one-sided. It's obvious. Now he's doing a decent job of trying to present the things that are important legally, blah blah blah. But it's amazing. People are dumber for watching this video. Just saying. They don't know what happened because there's important details that he's leaving out as he describes this case. And I don't know if it's on purpose or if it's just, maybe his editor just edited it out. He said all this stuff that I'm saying that he's missing. It just, they wanted to make sure the video was less than 25 minutes. They wanted to make sure it was 24 minutes or as close to 24 minutes as possible. And it was a 37-minute video originally, but we cut out all the stuff that, it just didn't seem all that important. But, I guess it would also balance out what would actually happened. I'm not getting through this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to expand my time 15 extra minutes, and then I'm going to be late, but I need to at least get through a little more of this. Maybe he might get to the point here.
In question and decide that they were self-defense. After all, in the latter two incidents, Kyle Rittenhouse was fending off what was arguably an attack with a skateboard, and in another, the man
I went back 5 seconds. So you can hear that again.
In the latter two incidents, Kyle Rittenhouse was fending off what was arguably an attack with a skateboard, and in another, the man admitted he drew a gun on Rittenhouse.
How is it arguably an attack with a skateboard? How is it? And did you forget jump kick, man? The kick to the face? Clearly seen in the video shown at the trial that there was contact with Kyle's face. He testified to it. Grosscrotch testified to it. In fact, Grosscrotch said, well, I think he might have been in danger because he said he was going to see if he was okay because he saw Huber hit him with a skateboard. What? Dear Lord, bring calm to my life. Arguably an attack with a skateboard. And you know what else Grosscrotch said on the stand when he was testifying? He said that a skateboard could cause blunt force trauma. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought a skateboard was just a toy. How could that be that a skateboard could cause blunt force trauma? He was a great witness for the defense. I'm telling you.
But one might also reasonably conclude that one or more of these incidents were not self-defense and were therefore murder. After all, in the first incident, Rosenbaum, an unarmed man, threw a bag of
I'm just letting that sink in. Threw a bag.
clothes at Rittenhouse.
What? Wait, what did he say?
Therefore, murder. After all, in the first incident, Rosenbaum, an unarmed man, threw a bag of clothes at Rittenhouse, which didn't land anywhere near Rittenhouse.
A bag of clothes? Did he? Was it a bag? I don't know. Was it a bag of clothes? I know that it had like the bottle in it and some toiletries or something. They talked about this, and his girlfriend said, I don't remember it being a bag of clothes. Was it a bag of clothes from the mental hospital? I don't know. I don't remember it being a bag of clothes. But it was a bag of his stuff. I guess it doesn't matter, but I don't remember the bag of clothes. Anyway.
Rosenbaum, an unarmed man.
An unarmed man. Well, whatever. He's still some maniac running at you while you got an AR-15 in your hand.
Clothes at Rittenhouse, which didn't land anywhere near Rittenhouse, after which Rittenhouse points his gun at him, and then Rosenbaum moves at Rittenhouse, or apparently towards the gun, and Rittenhouse shoots him 4 times, once in the back. And
there he goes again, once in the back. Shoots him 4 times, once in the back. If you're watching this and you're a Legal Eagle person who normally watches on Legal Eagle, that shot in the back was in the shoulder, and the bullet it lodged down in his back as he was diving. So it was, and even the medical examiner, it said it was consistent with him being on a horizontal plane, not like straight into his back. But, so which is consistent with 4 quick shots, one in the hand, one in the as you're falling because you're diving for the gun, and Rittenhouse steps back and makes shots. Whatever. This guy.
Yes, I'm aware of Rittenhouse's self-serving testimony about the preceding incidents. What I'm saying is that and yes, I'm aware of Rittenhouse's self-serving testimony about the preceding incidents. What I'm saying the back. And yes, I'm aware of Rittenhouse's self-serving testimony about the preceding incidents.
Mr. Lawyer Man, when you testify in your own defense in a court of law, isn't that the definition of self-serving? The fuck does that mean? I get it. You're saying he's lying. What's weird though, as I think about this, a lot of the stuff that. Well, let's see what he means by that. I'm gonna guess. I think I know what he's thinking.
What I'm saying is that reasonable minds can differ. And
your self-serving testimony, but your reasonable minds can differ. Well, didn't the other witnesses, including the defense witnesses and some of the prosecution witnesses, pretty much corroborated everything that Rittenhouse said on the stand? What are you talking about? His self-serving testimony. Yeah, self-serving. I'm self-serving myself in a trial where I'm on. Oh my God. Oh shit!
Good evening and welcome to Tucker
What did I do? What did I do?
In retrospect,
what?
It's remarkable.
No. Wait. There we go.
Rittenhouse also shoots at but misses the unarmed jump kick man, and the latter incidents involving gross.
Okay.
Times once in the back. And yes, I'm aware of Rittenhouse's self-serving testimony.
That makes my head explode.
What I'm saying is that reasonable minds can differ. And Rittenhouse also shoots at but misses the unarmed jump kick man. And the latter
wait a minute, because it was weird, because you said at all the other people that he shot at that evening, but you know that he shot at jump kick man. Were there more? Because you said something about the other people he shot at. That was okay. Everyone, all at once in the chat, and I know it's going to take about 30 seconds for me to see your answers because of the lag and the this and the whatever. How many shots did Rittenhouse fire that evening? Put it in the chat right now. Everyone in the chat, this chat at least, because you're well-informed individuals, knows how many shots Kyle Rittenhouse fired that evening, and I think if you count Jump Kick Man, I think we've run out of all the shots that he fired.
Involving Grosskreutz and Huber happened perhaps a few hundred feet away from several dozen police officers. It's not surprising that the people who pursued Rittenhouse thought he was an active shooter who needed to be stopped. But
no, they didn't. An active shooter would have been firing continually. One shot into a pedo, and then nothing from that between that and the time he was running toward the police that were 100 yards away. There wasn't another shot. An active shooter, that's not even the definition of an active shooter. See, all of you are smarter than this lawyer. 8 shots. Oh, 60. Avocados Diabli, I'm going to kick your ass. Oh, fight for your rights too. Fight for our rights. You know, y'all are not funny. Well, yes, you are. That is very funny. Anyway, everyone's got 8. Eight. Isn't there a jingle with a phone number that has 8s in it? I don't know. 8675. No, that's not the one. Dial 888-2300. Oh no, it's 588-2300 Empire. Well, anyway, you know what there's a song about that. Hello, Green Badger Outdoors and Logan F. and Straight Sith Mail. Nice to have you here. And Asian Research Directorate. Everyone knows 8.
The only question in this particular case was whether Rittenhouse's actions could possibly have been reasonable. Because remember, the standard is that the jury must find that there is no reasonable doubts that it wasn't self-defense. It's possible, if not probable, that both Rittenhouse and the people he killed were simultaneously acting in self-defense.
Now that is true. They could be simultaneous. We talked about that because, you know, if the Gross Crotch and the other jackasses that went after him. No, I shouldn't do. Oh, wait a minute. You know what's funny about that though? Because we were talking about this in the Michael trial, right? Did any of these people witness Kyle Rittenhouse shoot anybody? They don't know if he did. If they didn't witness it, aren't these guys vigilantes? They didn't witness anything. They know someone shot and he's running, but did they witness it? Are they allowed to make a citizen's arrest? Are they allowed to use deadly force to stop this person if they didn't witness him being an active shooter? What in the world would have said that this kid running down the street with his gun pointed down at the ground like he should with the proper, trigger management that says he's an active shooter? What would make you think he's not shooting? You didn't see him do anything. Yeah, you're hearing some noise from the back down there, but that doesn't mean this is the guy. Do you know this is the guy? Did you witness him shoot anybody? Or are you a vigilante? You're a vigilante now. Interesting.
Fence. The fog of war is a real thing. Reasonable beliefs can be mistaken.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, but we did say there's a scenario if they say they witnessed it and they were trying to do a citizen's arrest or whatever, they could also claim self-defense if he were an active shooter. But there's no evidence he was an active shooter because there weren't any shots as he was running down the street. An active shooter is a specific term where someone's actually shooting at just a bunch of people. That's not what was happening, and they did not witness him shoot Rosenbaum. So they don't know. They're chasing somebody because somebody else said, oh, chase him. You know what they were doing? They were trying to extract vigilante justice. They were trying to kill him. And you know what? Guess what? Who are the people trying to kill him? All criminals. Now, granted, that's not part of the trial. They couldn't use that in the trial, but every single one of them had some criminal issues in their belts. And as far as Rosenbaum, in his crotch. Yeah. Interesting.
The jury was accurately, based on the law, told that they had to determine whether Rittenhouse's belief was reasonable based on the circumstances. And this reminds me of the story of Gabby Giffords and Joe Zamudio.
How?
When Giffords was shot at a political rally, Joe Zamudio...
What?
Zamudio, who was legally armed, came running to help when he heard the gunfire that injured Gabby Giffords and killed 6 others in Tucson. By the time that Zamudio came to the scene, unarmed civilians had already tackled and disarmed the perpetrator. Zamudio later said that in his confusion, he was within seconds of shooting one of the people that was helping, not the shooter himself. This is an issue that champions of Rittenhouse should grapple with. If Rosenbaum or Huber...
What? I'm having trouble following his logic. Oh, because they're saying that these criminals right here that they're showing. You know what's funny about this picture? Have you seen the meme with this picture? Like kind of some very similar picture, those three side by side, but it had their criminal records under them. Yeah, that's a thing.
Or Grosskreutz had killed Kyle Rittenhouse, they might have been justified in using self-defense under the law.
Wait, whoa, what? Wait, stop. Let's go back to that picture. Where's the picture?
Was helping, not the shooter himself. This is an issue that
right here.
Kyle Rittenhouse.
Wait a minute. I get it with Huber and Grosskreutz. How the fuck could Rosenbaum be considered a hero? Now, the prosecution did have that fake picture, the pixelated shit that, pointed weapon, blah, 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 that you couldn't even tell what the fuck was going on in the picture. But really? Are you trying to make these three shitbags heroes after this? And how this one, it's a stretch that this guy was a hero because they don't have there's nothing from the trial. There's no clear cut evidence. There's no evidence that you can see beyond a reasonable doubt that said this guy is a hero at all. They didn't present it and there was no testimony to that. I don't know. Where would you come up with that for Rosenbaum? Maybe now Huber and Grosskreutz, if Kyle Rittenhouse was actually an active shooter and that they were doing what they could to stop him, they absolutely could be considered heroes. And they also could have a self-defense case had they killed Kyle Rittenhouse. And then that's the only person who could testify. They could absolutely, because in their minds, they were trying to get someone who shot somebody, even though they didn't witness the crime. So they might have trouble. They might have a problem there. But anyway, let's see if I'll get through a few more minutes, then I got to go.
Or Huber or Grosskreutz had killed Kyle Rittenhouse, they might have been justified in using self-defense under the law. Again, reasonable minds might differ on this. But any system that incentivizes rule by the last person standing, that is, killing the only person who might dispute your claim of self-defense, that seems, suboptimal. To this point that my notes simply say vigilantism.
Where'd your notes come from? Who gave you those notes, Devin?
Is bad. And I stand by that.
But they were still vigilantes, right? They didn't see it, but they chased, and if they would have killed Kyle, they would have been vigilantes. They might have been in trouble, actually. Even if someone they're heroes. I need a hero.
I also worry that is becoming a controversial position. Net, bringing guns to a protest is bad. Anyone.
Why? But it wasn't a protest. It was a riot. It was a bunch of people set on destruction, and there were multiple people out there protecting businesses with guns. Was Gage Grosskotz's gun, Crotch's gun, bad, Devin? I'm just curious.
That brings it, not just Kyle Rittenhouse, but there's
okay, good. But remember, how about the black father and daughter who were protecting a restaurant in the parking lot? Were their guns bad? You probably haven't heard it. Well, nobody's heard of them because nobody talks about anyone else there that was protecting businesses, and they weren't. I'm finding out there's more than just the car source that was being protected that night, and I want to find if there were other. I know of two businesses for sure, and I'm going to see if I can find out if there are any more.
large strain of people that simply say that Kyle Rittenhouse shouldn't have been there, and that's the reason that he can't use self-defense. And by most accounts, Kyle Rittenhouse meets the definition of a vigilante.
Bullshit. How does he meet the definition of a vigilante? A vigilante is someone who goes out and chases someone down to kill them for something that they think they did wrong, whether they know they did it wrong or not. That he didn't, if not from this trial, did anyone say anything about him being a vigilante? The prosecution never claimed that. The prosecution, because guess what? They would have charged him with something like that. That's not what they did. So how did he meet the definition of a vigilante? I hope you explain this, Devin.
But whether Kyle Rittenhouse...
Nope. That's it. No explanation. How? By the testimony of the things he did that day, that evening, why he was there, why he happened to be in Kenosha. Oh, ties to the community. Dad, mom, dad, grandma, cousins, best friend, sister's boyfriend, all lived there. He worked there. Okay, how's he a vigilante? He didn't come from somewhere else to just come up and start shooting people. He wasn't trying to enforce any laws on his own volition. He didn't, what the now, your viewers are dumber for watching this video. Seriously. By what definition of vigilante, did I say that right? How does he's the definition of a vigilante, how? You might want to make another video about this, Devin, because I want to, just about that. Let's talk about being a vigilante. What law did Kyle Rittenhouse think he was enforcing when he shot Joseph Rosenbaum? How was he a vigilante? Who did he go out to who did he go out to shoot because he was chasing them down for whatever transgression he thought they were doing? All of the people who he shot attacked him, whether you think one provoked him or not. How is that the definition of a vigilante? Are you fucking kidding me? I swore, didn't I? Did I swear? Yeah, I did. Okay, yeah, I did. Oh my God. And you're a lawyer who has 2 million plus followers on YouTube. I'll probably get a content strike for this just because you're an idiot. Okay, I shouldn't have said that. Idiot? No. Disingenuous? Bordering on lying? Do you really believe that he beats the definition of a vigilante? Hey, and if you ever see this, and I doubt I'm a small potatoes guy here, but if you ever see this, I'd like to know that one little detail of how he meets the definition of a vigilante. Based on witness testimony and evidence from this trial. How? This was never brought up in the trial. Sounds like, I don't know, are you making shit up?
Should have been there in the first place isn't relevant to the questions of whether he legally met the definition of self-defense in the first place.
Yeah, well, but he doesn't. I want to hear. I want to hear how he meets the definition of a vigilante. That's a stretch. That's a Stretch Armstrong stretch. That's a Plastic Man stretch. That's what's the Mr. Fantastic stretch?
Possessing a gun by itself doesn't prevent the application of self-defense. And there are, of course, larger social issues here as well. Many have claimed that it would have been impossible for a black person to kill 2 people.
Okay, that's it. You're done. You're done. You're done. Let's not get into hypotheticals, okay? Because guess what? There were black people there that night protecting businesses, but you don't know that. I do know that for a fact. Let me see how he finishes this sentence.
Will injure a third and fire at a fourth and live to walk away from the scene.
Do you know that? How do you know that? How do you know that? We don't know because that was not the scenario. So what's the point? There were certainly there was a 16-year-old black girl with an AR-15 protecting a restaurant there that night. We know that for a fact. Now, nobody attacked her, so we'll never know if she shot the person who attacked her and then shot other people who attacked her. We'll never know. This is like, yeah, well, here's a scenario we'll never know has happened, but I bet you that it would end this way. That, you know what? I'm guessing that's just for your viewers. I bet your viewers are probably the same people on the internet who are saying that he crossed state lines with an AR-15. He crossed 2 state lines. His mother drove him across 2 states to insert him in something he had no business being at. That's what your viewers do. That's my guess, Devin.
To be found not guilty. And we can probably evaluate whether this is true or not. One way to look at this.
How? Do you think have you ever heard? I'm going to guess that, there's a few black people who've used self-defense and probably successfully used it as a, against. In fact, there was a couple this week. Yeah. Now they were completely different situations. They're not the same. Well, one was a guy who shot at police officers and he got off on a self-defense claim. Amazing. Good Lord. Oh my God.
This is by studying the data on how juries perceive.
Okay, no, you can watch the rest of this video yourself. I'm done. We can't do any more because I'm really, really late. And guys, holy shit, that was bad. It was, it was okay in the I mean, he's at least stuck to legalese and shit at the beginning and kind of sort of giving the whole scenario, although he used the language of the prosecution and really never he talked a little bit about the defense, but yeah, or he added some snippets here and there, but my God. Okay, Devin, if you ever see this, which I'm not confident you will, but I want to go just to that one point you made about the, the vigilante. How did Kyle Rittenhouse meet the definition of a vigilante? That's your homework, Devin. If you see that, and hey, call me, brother. I'm here, and or put a comment in the comment section. If you put a comment in the comment section, I'll try to find you on Twitter and we'll chat. Because I know you're on Twitter. I don't follow you. I followed you at one point and then I just couldn't. Well, never mind. Ladies and gentlemen, I gotta go. I'm super late, and I'll be here tomorrow and I'll be here Friday just like normal. And hit the like button and all that stuff that you do. Thanks for dropping by. But I gotta go. I'm late. My name's PDawgKnight. And I'm out of here. Bye-bye. Hey, this is PDawgKnight, and thank you for watching today on the PDawgKnight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cashapp, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm PDawgKnight, and I'm out of here.